time. Let us begin.
സിസ്റ്റർ ഒരു സെക്കൻഡ്, ഞാൻ ഫാദറുമായിട്ട് കോണ്ടാക്ട് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്.
Yes,
ഫാദറിന്
yes, yes,
സ്ക്രീൻ
yes.
പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ചെറിയൊരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട്.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, let us wait.
Internet addiction is similar to drug addiction. Advances in internet technology have resulted in an unprecedented level of accessibility to information, services, communication, and leisure activities. Internet influences people in terms of their lifestyle, health, education, and interpersonal relationships. Good evening, all. Myself, Risha Krishna Pia of First BSc Psychology, welcome you all to the last day of our national webinar on the topic Mental Health in the Cyber World. God is always here. Next, I invite Renu Samuel of First BSc Psychology to lighten our heart with a prayer.
There shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing, sent from the Savior above. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops on us are falling, but for the showers we plead.
Thank you, Renu. Next, I invite Dilna Mujib of First BSc Psychology for welcome speech.
Hello, Pavitra. I have sent the PowerPoint to you. Just to try if you can really present. Try it, Pavitra,
Okay, Father.
in your WhatsApp.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome out of the cave, my friend. It's a bit colder out here, but the stars are just beautiful. Words by Plato. Today, myself, Dilna Mujib, speaking before you to welcome every one of you to this webinar. Let me begin by welcoming our resource person, Father Alex Marutical, who has a bachelor's in philosophy, diploma in theology, MA in counseling psychology, PhD in clinical psychology, and is currently the director and psychologist in Timhan's Trichur. Now let me welcome the HOD of Department of Psychology, Father Dr. Jimmy Akkad and Dr. Sister Delphi, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology. Let me conclude my words by welcoming all of you to this online platform for the session. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dilna. Now, it's time to start our webinar session. So, I welcome Reverend Dr. Father Alex to start the session on the topic Cyber Addiction, a Developmental Perspective. So, Father, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, all. It's a little bit late. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm not good in technology, that's why. I'm very happy for inviting me to be part of your webinar. I thank your Kshetra administrative body and the Department of Psychology and all the students of psychology in your Kshetra and all those who are participating in national webinar of this time. So welcome you all to this session. So today I discuss with you cyber addiction or internet addiction based on developmental perspective. So we know that addictive behaviors have its own predisposing factors. Mainly, I would like to share with you those factors first and how it affects a person. Of course, we know that how it affects. So when we tell about development stages of a human being, we start from the childhood, from the early childhood of a baby. We know that when we grew from 0 to 4 age, one of the most important part of our development is a soft touch of a parent. So I would like to begin with that. Actually, if a child is when a child is growing, the child is experiencing the love and care from the parents from the touch. If a parent is telling to that child, I love you so much, that child doesn't feel that child couldn't feel the love and care from the parents. But if the parent is taking the child and holding the child inside the hands and kissing the child feel that the child is so much loved and cared. So now at present, when we have the facilities of technology, the over use of the technology, there's a chance to have a lack of the touch. Instead of touching the child, the parents may touch phone. When they are overly involved in using phone, unfortunately, they forget to touch the children. They are always expecting, the children always expect that my child, my father, my mom will take me in their hands and kiss me. But instead of sometimes the parents, when they use the cell phone, they touch the phone. That's why we call touch phones. No? You used to touch the phone, but not to touch the child. But when there is an overly touching phone, and we are disconnecting our relationship with the children, so that affect their emotional level. They feel that I'm not loved really, I'm not cared really. That can increase a kind of insecurity in their life. So the most important thing, when we are overly involved in technology, we need to take care how we are connecting with our children. If we don't have a right kind of connection with the children, that means we are using cell phone, and we are connected with the internet world, not connected with the children. So that affect the growth of a child, and the child is always that child is always expecting to be loved and cared by someone. And when the parents are not loving, when the parents are not taking care well, they always look for that, and that leads to addiction. So we can have a next point, still face experiment. Means there are times the parents are taking care of their children by looking at them, by texting them. Most of the time at present, I heard from some of the parents, my child is my boy, my girl is always inside the room, so I used to text them, come for the meal and come for the prayer. Sometimes they are texting even their love and their care. They are extending their care and love through the texting. And there are some parents who are living abroad, they're calling their children and looking at them through the video call, and they're trying to say them that I love you so much. But instead of giving a care or concern through the texting or a video call, they really experience, they want a face-to-face caring. They would like to see their parents face-to-face. Instead of giving face to face, even though we give care through the texting or through the video call, it is not sufficient enough. That's why they have different kind of issues in their life. They don't feel face to face, because when they see their parents, they learn so many things. By looking at the face of my father, by looking at the face of my mom, I can improve, I can develop my brain system in a healthy manner. That's why all the children, they learn all the expressions of emotions from their parents, looking at their parents. And also by looking at their parents face to face, they get a kind of emotional attachment. They feel that they are so much loved, they are so much cared, because they are looking. Because when the children are growing, even though the parents are not saying anything, just look is enough. Just look at them. That itself shows that they are scared. They got the attention of the parents. That gives a kind of healthy brain system, according to the studies. So during the development of a child, the child needs face-to-face contact or attachment. That gives a healthy brain development, according to the studies. So for the next point, we see the brain development technology. It says that Childhood development and the need for interaction with other human beings. Actually, the child need interaction with the human beings, not interaction with the technology. If a child want to learn how to live, how to move, how to do anything, how to help other person, everything that child is learning from the human beings, not from the technology. That's why they learn everything from the human beings. They need an interpersonal relationship. So interpersonal relationship is one of the most important thing during the developmental stages of the child. If that person is not getting a right interpersonal relationship, that might affect that child, whole life of that child. And that kind of unfinished or unhealthy growth may lead to addiction. That's why there are times when we use our technology, when we use technology overly, it might affect a lack of human relationship. When we look at our present situation, before, when we don't have cell phone, we don't have internet, we were so much attached to our parents. We were so much attached to our neighbors. Now we don't have that kind of attachment. Of course, we have contact with through our cell phone. We used to call them. We used to ask them how are they, how they feel now. But we don't get that kind of closeness when we are talking them straight, face to face. When we visit that person at home, when we visit and see that person and asking their health condition, everything. When we do face to face, it have a different effect. So we have to be careful during the development stage. We need to get face to face interpersonal relationship, direct interpersonal relationship. The next one is, still the studies are going on how too much technology, how it will affect the person. It still studies are going on. That means more than what we expect, a person can be destructively affected when we use over technology. We need technology. Technology is always good for our smooth running of our activities. Technology is to use for it is for the human beings use. But at present, what is happening? The technology is using the human being. When the technology is using the human being, it becomes unhealthy, and that's why a person's development becomes unhealthy when the technology is using the main part, or the life situations of the all human beings. So the next thing, we need to keep a time schedule, how long the technology, the internet will be used. Unless if we don't have any control on internet use, it might affect our brain system. We can move to the next slide. So the another part is a part of a relationship. Means I already mentioned that during the development stage, one of the most important thing of relationship. Most of the time when we are overly use internet, there is a chance to have an sextortion and exploitation. I use two words, sextortion and exploitation, which means there are times when the children are using internet, there is a chance to have a relationship with a stranger, and the stranger can influence a child immediately, and a stranger can start to keep a relationship, and through that relationship, some occasions, there are certain occasions the children are abused or exploited by a stranger. Maybe exploiting them by saying that you are exposed in the different manner, sexually exposed, or by threatening them that you are part of an exploitation. That means you will be exposed in different social media, and by threatening those kind of words, those kind of things, they are asking the children to do according to their wish, according to their interest. So that means the relationship become destructive. if the relationship are destructive, their whole life will be affected. There are times youngsters or the children, when they are gloomy, when they are depressed, when we ask to them, we know that we can hear from them, we can listen from them. They are abused by some of the strangers through the media, and they are affected. Once I also experienced one child came with a mom, and that child is so quiet and silent. And when that child entered to the counseling room, that child is confessed to his mom, "Mom, don't tell to father about that thing. Don't tell to father that incident." I asked the mom what happened in that child life. Because the child is always confessing or complaining that, "Mom, don't say that, don't say that." I asked what happened. And that mom was very sad to share that one of their neighbor showed the child the sexually malfunctioning or sexually not good video to that child that affected the child, which means even the relationship with when the relationship is not healthy, and there is a chance to abuse those children by showing the videos, by sending the message. So relationship is very important. Interpersonal relationship is very important to a child for the better or a healthy development. But there are times when there is an overuse of the technology, there is a chance to have a destructive relationship through a stranger. The study shows that only 45 minutes enough to groom a child through the cell phone, through the social media. They're easily influenced by the strangers, and also they are after that they don't know that they are in a trap. The later it is when it is affected their whole life. And we know that they are also learning from the different areas of the studies about the internet world. Once it is uploaded, it is forever there. So they are thinking that my whole life will be affected because of this issue. And also there are some children still, they are afraid about the people. They think that all people are looking at me because they know something about me. I encountered one case here. One college girl, when she came to my institution, she's always holding the cell phone, and she's not in a normal situation. That means she's not talking right with the right orientation. She's afraid someone, and her parents are holding her, but still she's afraid. And I asked her what happened, and when she started to talk to me, and she told me that she was not using the cell phone too much, but recently for the online studies, it happened 3 years ago. Recently her parents gave a cell phone for the online studies and classes, and one of her classmate was chatting with her, very expressing his intimacy with her. And finally she found that he is expressing some kind of sexual messages, and she became afraid. And at present she can't leave her cell phone anywhere, because she's thinking that if someone is seeing that, they might think I am a bad girl, I'm not good. That's why she's always holding that cell phone, and she doesn't want to give that cell phone to anyone. And finally I asked her, "I will not open that one, please give that cell phone." And she gave that cell phone to me, and she started to share these issues. She's afraid because she's thinking that if someone is seeing this chat, if somebody is seeing this message, they might think that I am a bad girl, I don't have a good reputation. And I think, and she also says that maybe he will send this message to everyone. He might share this screen to anyone, and she might lose her good name among her friends, which means there are chances to have an exploitation. Then that exploitation experiences, incidents affect their whole life. Next slide. Another word, this is very common. We know that what is dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical, neurochemical, which makes a person pleasure, which makes a person happy. Youngsters, children always expecting pleasure always in their life, because they want to be happy always. That's why the internet world always giving a happy moments. When they want to experience happiness, that happiness they are provided by the internet world. So which means when they are experiencing one's happiness from the internet world, they are always addicted to that internet world. And instead of getting normal pleasure moments in their interpersonal relationship and their real life situations, they're looking for the happiness through the internet. That might affect them negatively. That's why once they experience happiness through the internet, they always look for that through the internet. So they stop to have a pleasure moments with their parents, pleasure moments with their friends, pleasure moments with the real life situations. So instead of getting pleasure from the real life situations, they always look happiness. They always search happiness from the internet world. So that's the one very important element in the developmental stage. The children always expecting happiness. They don't expect sadness. They don't expect fear. They always expect happiness. They do everything for happiness. Their intention for every activities, they want to be happy. They don't want to be unhappy. They don't want to be fearful. That's why they are free. When they are in the internet world, they are free to choose their happiness. So once when they are experience the happiness by using the internet, their pleasure pathway is very active, and they don't want to stop that pleasure pathway. So internet world is always giving a pleasure, so they always addicted to that pleasure giving a pathway. So that's one thing happening. We have to be very careful. The children need to experience real life pleasure situations. If they don't have real life pleasure situations, they always look for this internet screen image or cyber world pleasure experiences. The next thing about the studies shows that even with the 15 seconds, our brain can be affected. Our brain can be energized or activate through a video or a screenplay, affect them within 15 seconds. Which means if a person is traumatically experienced or made them fearful or felt anxiety, felt fear, felt shock within 15 seconds, it takes 6 hours to normalize their body. Means perfectly normalize. It takes a long hours of process in their body to make them normalize from getting healed from a traumatic experience, what they see, what they experience in the internet, what they experience from the screen. So we can imagine what happened in the children's life. When we look at the children, how long they watch internet, how long they watch cell phone or screen, they might say, those who are addicted, they might say that once it happened to me. When one parent came with a child and they asked, the mom with a very soft manner, she shared that my child is using cell phone until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, only that much. But the child himself confessed that, no, father, I'm using cell phone until 5 o'clock, morning 5 o'clock, that child is using, that student is using cell phone. And he also confessed that almost 15 to 16 hours daily he is using. Not every day, but frequently. He is using 15 to 16 hours of cell phone. Which means he lost his sleep, he lost his food. So we know what is happening when one person loses his sleep. We know that when a person is losing sleep, it happens to be insomnia, and also it leads to a kind of different kinds of disorders. When some people come for a counseling, I used to ask them, how long you slept. Did it affect your sleeping last day, or do you have any problem with your sleeping behavior? So most of the time, the people who are having a psychotic disorders, they used to say that their sleep is affected. That means they are experiencing insomnia. They don't have right kind of sleep. They are disturbed. So when our children are affected in their sleep at night, they are affected in the development. They are affected in the brain system. That's why when the children are using long hours of internet, it affects their brain. So we know that not only our timetable, but also their body system, it will affect. So one of the most important thing we have to notice that when a child is having a short hours of sleep, it might affect that child development, that child brain development, at the same time the development of the mind and the body. So next slide, we can see next slide. So that's what we read there. The teenagers are getting less and less sleep because of all kinds of excitations and tech advance for producing more feasible and more attractive visual system. So when a child is watching a thrilling movie, and when a child is watching very horror movie, how that child can sleep that night? And it becomes worse to worse. No, it becomes the worst, the brain system. So it affects that child very negatively. The next slide. When a child is having a lack of sleep, there is also a chance to have a impairment to the brain and cognitive functioning. So we know that when a child is having short hours of sleep, it might affect the child, the brain system. There can be an impairment in their brain. So these are the main dysfunctioning happen when a child is having, when there is these kinds of dysfunctioning during the development stages of a child. That child may lead to cyber addiction or internet addiction. So the next slide shows who get addicted. Of course, we know that a person is having an addictive behavior when that person is having a lack of authentic self-identity. Of course, we know that the children are having low self-identity. That's why there is a chance to get into connect with internet world. When they are so much interested in cell phone, they are so much interested in social media, they feel a kind of getting strengthen their identity. So when they are lack of authentic identity, they always hold someone with them to make them strong enough. That's what we see. A child or an adolescent who is having a low self-esteem, usually they keep they keep always keeping using the cell phone, keeping using the social media to express their idea, because they're afraid to express themselves in front of the people, in front of the students, in front of the teachers. So instead, they are expressing their ideas and principles, their interest, their dreams through the social media. So they're so much interested in using cell phone because of that. The next one is those who don't have inner stability, means who doesn't know how to control themselves. Of course, children during the developmental stages of different developmental stages, they don't feel right stability. We know that developmental psychology studies says that 18 to 21, when it reaches to 24, it is perfectly okay. The brain development is perfectly okay. But until that time, there is no stability in their decision. So when there is a chance to have a difficulty in inner stability, they don't have the capacity to use the cell phone in a right manner. That's why they need to be controlled by someone. They cannot control. They don't know how to control themselves. That's why during the development of a child, that child need to be controlled. Otherwise, they are controlled by the internet. So if they are controlled by the internet, they are out of control. Once a child came to my for counseling, the parents confessed that that child is not studying well, and that child is having a difficulty for attention, for reading a book, for sitting somewhere for a long time. And when I started to talk with that child, I heard that the child is knowing so many things, and he asking me some knowledge, some kind of informations which is normally not known to a child, that kind seventh standard child. So I asked that child, from where you know all these things, and he shared that I get all those things from YouTube. Then I asked that child, from where you watch YouTube. Then that child told me, we have a cell phone in our home, and I am the one who handling that cell phone. And immediately I asked the parents to come to my room, and I asked them why the child is using cell phone. And the mom told me that, share that his father is abroad, and he used to call every day. I don't know how to use this technology, and he's very good in technology. That's why I asked him, you open the cell phone and you call your papa, video call. He's the one who taking, and he's the custodian of the cell phone. I told that I told them it's wrong thing, because if you give that cell phone to that child, he overly use that, or he use always that cell phone, because whenever he's free, he look at the YouTube. And we know that nowadays all the people using the YouTube, and all our bloggers, they send their ideas, their dreams, everything in the YouTube, even though it's right or wrong. Who is deciding is right or wrong? Everyone is using their freedom. So when a child is using cell phone, I found that that child is the problem of the child is information overloaded. So many informations in his brain, so he's confused, and he is having difficulty to concentrate in one thing. When he sits somewhere to do anything, he immediately think about something he watched last moment, which means when a child is having information overloaded, that child is having a difficulty to concentrate, to read something, to get a right knowledge, to write an exam. That child is not in a right that child is having a difficulty to concentrate anything. Even the parents is asking to do something, that child is not having a right attention to hear that, to listen that, because the child is having information overload. The next thing, when we grew, we are having a feeling that I'm good enough, means I have a capacity, my family is good. But when a child is growing, together with a child is watching a social media, Instagram, Facebook, or different videos, the child is having a feeling that I'm not competent enough. I can see other children better than me. Better than me means they are expressing their abilities, their capacities through their videos. They're sharing their dance, they're sharing their cultural, their artistic capacities, their skills, and also their practical skills, and their beauty, how they are handsome. Everything they are showing through their videos, through their social media. But there are times when the children are exposed to this kind of social media, they feel that I'm not good enough. A kind of low self-esteem. It leads to a kind of low self-esteem, that child may feel that I'm not good enough. I'm not competent enough. And also, when there are situations of stressful situations happens in that child, instead of facing stressful situations, that child become that child coping that time with a destructive manner, which means immediately go to the internet world, which means that child is using the cell phone. That's also same thing what we do when a parent is when the parent is rearing a child. When the child is crying, immediately we give the cell phone and the child is stop crying, which means the child is interested more in cell phone than good advice or a good words or a smile of a parent. So we are also, unfortunately, we are teaching that we are giving a formation to the children that that child is happy when the cell phone is with that child. Otherwise, we give that cartoon to that child and look at that, you are happy. And if I scold that child, if the parent is giving a punishment to the child because that child made a mistake, then after punishing that, immediately we give the cell phone, we give the cartoon, and we say that don't worry, don't worry. Even though I slap at you, I hit you, it's for good. And we give the child the cell phone, which means that's not the right way of giving a formation. So we need to teach, or we give a formation to a child to face the stressful situation in a healthy manner by giving some kind of advice, by giving them some kind of life testimonies. Another sad thing happen when the child is having overuse of the cell phone or internet. It affects their self-care, which means they don't like to take a bath, even they don't like to take a food. Once when I when I asked to, when I have a occasion to talk with a +1 student, his mom always complain. His mom complained that he's always watching video even when he take food. It's quite interesting. That's why I'm sharing with you. And I asked that boy, why are you watching video during when you take food? And he said that it's not my mistake, father. It's a mistake of my mom. Then I said, what happened with mom? Then he said to me, my mom is not cooking good food. It's not tasty. You know what's happening? When I eat food, I don't feel any taste. So I look at the cookery show, and when I see that someone is cooking food, I feel tasty. So that's why when I eat food, I'm watching the video of cookery show. So that mom is so sad. Then she's repeatedly asking my son, you don't taste good, you don't taste good taste when I cook food for you. Then he, no, I don't like your taste. I don't like the way you cook food. You see how the children are making arguments for their addictive behaviors. So, and also his mom complained that he doesn't like to have a right means healthy way of taking bath, because until the time the bus come to our friend, he's watching the cell phone, he watching the video YouTube, and that time he says, oh, now there is no time to take bath, I'm going to school. You see, they don't take food, they don't have right self-care, cleanliness, that affect their life, and they are having a poor health system, and it affect their body and mind. When the body is not healthy, it might affect their mind also in future. Then after losing this time, they don't find meaning in their life. Most of the time the addictions leads when they are experiencing a lack of meaning, because when they are using cell phone or internet for long time, they don't have time to study, they don't have time to make them discipline. That's why after few days or few years, few months, they feel that I am a failure, because my scores are not good, my teachers are always scolding me, my mom is not happy, my father is not happy, all family members accusing me because of my failure, and all are they are saying that I'm bad one, I'm not good enough, So that person might feel lack of meaning in the life. So these all things happening when a person is having predisposed situations, that person lead to have an addicted life. The next one is there are 5 specific subtypes of internet addiction could be categorized. So when a child is having poor developmental system, so developmental stage, that person is having a cyber sexual addiction. We know that during the development of a child through the adolescent stage, that child is always experiencing curiosity about his sexual growth. And when there is a chance to use internet, there is a chance to have a cyber sexual addiction. Watching the porn videos, watching the contact with a person based on for the sexual satisfaction. And the another one is cyber relationship addiction, which means instead of having a real life relationship, there are a relationship through the cyber world, through the internet world. So that's also a kind of addictions happen when that person is having not having a right developmental health, developmental growth. The next one is net compulsion. When a child is having, I told you earlier, a child is always looking for happiness. And there are times if a person is having, if a child is having a dissatisfied feeling in his or her childhood time, that person can lead to net compulsion, means obsession for online, for gambling, for shopping, for trading, which means he's trying to satisfy himself by buying so many things. Last day I met a young guy who is having this kind of problem. He's addicted to internet, and his problem is at present he's not thinking that he's not having a financial income. Instead of thinking that he's buying so many things, that's how the parents found that he's having some kind of problem, and now he's having a treatment because of that. And also the next one is information overloaded. As I told earlier, as I shared earlier, when there is information overload, it might affect that person, their concentration and thinking capacity. Maybe he might feel that jumping from one idea to another idea, from one incident to another incident immediately, it might affect that person's future, because he might feel difficulty to have a stability, and he might feel difficulty to concentrate in one thing. Then of course we know that next one is computer addiction, gaming, always enjoying or finding pleasure in computer addiction, in internet world. Then finally I would like to share with you how it can be healed. So I would like to share 8 things to heal these problems when it happens in the development stage. The first thing, priming positive moods. So when a person is need to change, that person is need to have a positive mood. And I would like to say that most of the time we complain the children, they are not good enough, they don't have capacity to change their life. So I always suggest the parents, you give a positive mood in your home. Give a positive vibe at your home. Talk with them. Try to find happy moods, happy incidents in your family. So by having those kind of positive moods, entertainment moods, and pleasure or very very live time, very positive vibe in your family, that will give your child a healthy development, a healthy mindset. The next one is humor chemistry, which means all the children, they want to be happy, not in a stressful situations. That's why don't give a threatening situation always at home, or give them a kind of funny or a joyful time that will help the children to be in more in outside the internet world, because when they are happy, that's why instead of giving internet time, that child need to have a funny or humor time with the family members, with the friends. If they are talking with their friends, if they are talking with their classmates and they're happy, allow them to be there. Invite your family, invite your friends, your children's friends to your family to have a food and talk with them, funny moments, play with them. That kind of moments will help the child to become better, and that is the healthy way of rearing the children instead of giving internet world for a happiness. The next one is light chemistry, which means light chemistry is the one way the family or the parents need to encourage the children to go outside the house, which means most of the time the children are spending the time inside the room. I used to say that when I was a child, if someone is asking to my mom, "Where is Alex?" my mom can say that maybe he's playing at the playground, or he might swim there near a pool, which is nearby my home. Which means my mom can identify where they can see me when they are not at home. But these days, our children, our youngsters, when we ask our parents where are they are nowhere outside the house. They are inside the house, inside the room, and maybe they close the door, and even they close the windows, and they feel that they are at night. Which means even during the daytime, morning time or night time, they feel the same inside the room, because they close the doors and it becomes dark, and they feel that they are in a different world. So we need to encourage them to go outside the room and feel the light, which means they need to get light from the outside. It is not only the light, but also the knowledge from the outside. Most of the time when they are too much interested in their internet world, they are looking always only the interesting things what they are interested. That may not be always good for their knowledge, that may not be always good for their growth. That's why light chemistry says that we need to allow the children to interact with the people, and they need to get knowledge from the other person. They need to get knowledge from the other events or incidents. From the practical life, they need to get some kind of new knowledge. Otherwise, they may be in their own world. Then other important thing is to get them better aerobic boosting. And that means they need to get right physical exercise to become better. Which means if they have right kind of exercise, their body movements, that will affect their brain also to become alert and calm. Which means when the healthy body, when there is a healthy bodily exercise, they will be better. We allow them to go for jogging, go for cycling, go for playing. Once recently, before the exams, one parent came to me, and the problem is their child is not talking to anyone. The child is not going outside the home anymore, because before a few years before he entered into 10th standard, we always tell him, don't go for playing, don't go outside, always study, because that time his academic performance was very poor. That's why we were encouraging him to be there at home. But at present, the problem is he's never go outside. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. He doesn't want to play with anyone. So we would like to give him an active life. So they were telling that after the exam, we have to push him. We have to give a time to have play with the children, to play football outside the home, to go with the children for cycling. So that's needed for the child when the child is growing. The next one is constructive narratives. That is more cognitive level, which means a person or a child need to find a positive side of every incident. Otherwise, the child might think that everything happens in my life negative. That's why give positive memories or modify their memories with a constructive way. For example, why my father scolded me, it is not because of his hatred, but because of his love towards me. I need to grow in a better way. I need to keep ethics in my life. That's why my father is scolding me whenever I do mistakes. So every time when we give suggestions, we give a positive suggestions, and we need to teach or train the child to think a constructive way. Otherwise, when that person is not able to think constructively, there is a chance to have a start addictions. The another thing is power of belief, which means when a child is having a kind of internet addiction, that person need to change by keeping our own values and beliefs. That's why when a child is growing, the child need to get a kind of belief system. The child is need to get a better value system to make his mood better. Otherwise, when he sacrifice something, he feel that I lost something. But instead of that, I can think that when I sacrifice something for my brother, my sister, I'm happy. Or if I sacrifice the time of internet, I don't feel that I lost something. No, but I can do something good for my family. I can do good thing, good for my fellow beings. Those are the better belief system and the values. So we need to teach the children the better value system and belief system that can hold in their mind, and they can change by themselves. And the next thing, seventh one is wiring positive thinking, which means give always positive thinking, be optimistic. And we have to give, there are different kinds of evaluations, but we try to encourage the people to have a better or a positive thinking about everything in the life. And we also need to disconnect ourselves. When we say that we have to connect with the positivity, we have to detach with the negativity, negative beliefs. So we have to come out from the problems. When we say that I am in a problem, if I realize that I'm in a problem, we have to make a strain to come out from that. Even without making, if we are not making a deliberate strain to come out from that, there is a chance, there is no chance to become better. So we can become in a still addiction. The final thing is social connecting, which means every changes happens, every right or healthy development happens with a social connecting, which means through the relationship with the human being. So every problems start from the disconnection with a human being, but every change begins with connection with a human being. So when we are connected with a human being, we will be happy, and we will be having a healthy life. We will be having a healthy real lifetime, and that will give a healthy brain system, healthy thinking pattern, and we will be good in the future. So we have to teach, we have to give right healthy developing system for a child. Then that child will not be affected by the internet world. So internet addiction says that there is a lack of giving a right situation through our right parenting, our right situations in the child life, through the right interventions. So because the children or a person is not growing with the right values and with right belief system, that child may affect the future, the whole life of that child. So finally, I thank you. So we are moving in the times of we are moving in a risky situations. We need to be very vigilant. Otherwise, our growth can be affected. Our children might be affected. There is a chance to increase the people with addiction. So when the technology is very fast in developing, we need to develop our personal qualities also to to face the situations, to face the danger of the situation. So thank you so much. If you want to ask any question or clarifications, I are free, and I try my best to share with you.
So if anyone have any doubts, you can raise your hands.
Okay, someone is asking.
Smita.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sir, it's a simple question.
Yes.
See, if after identifying a cyber addiction in a child, whom we should consult first? A counselor for counseling or a psychiatrist for medication? Which should be given first?
Maybe first we can consult with a counselor, because through the psychotherapy can give if that child is getting a right support and guidance in the beginning, the child might be heal or getting out from that situation. But if that child still is having difficulty, we can ask the help of the psychiatrist. Most of the time with the internet addiction, without giving a psychiatric medication, we used to give psychotherapy. After giving a psychotherapy, if there is still any behavior or issues disorder happens, only we ask the help of the psychiatrist.
Thank you, sir.
There are times the children, those who are having internet addiction, together with they have borderline personality, and also they are having aggressive expressions of their emotions. That time we need to give control through the medication. If that person is having only internet addiction or not affected too much with other disorders, better to give psychotherapy.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
If there is no doubts, we can switch on to the validatory function. Pavitra.
Yes, sister.
Thank you, Father. The session was really very much informative for all of us. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
There will be also a validatory function after this vote of thanks. So next, I invite Sumadi of first BSc Psychology to deliver vote of thanks.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Myself Sumadi, a first year psychology student. Let me start my duty by thanking our dear father Jimmy Akkad and Delphi sister for helping us get this opportunity and for encouraging us to participate in this educational experience to the fullest. And also thanks to our faculty and students who coordinated the program efficiently. I have to thank our resource persons, Advocate Karthikeyan and Dr. Akhil Benny, Dr. Emerson VP, Dr. Aisha Natarajan, and of course our current speaker who made our time worthwhile with his fruitful speech, Reverend Dr. Alex. We thank you for educating us and making us think and for helping us be aware of the dangers of cyber addiction. And finally, I thank our audience who helped make this 5-day webinar a wonderful success by listening, interacting, and partaking in the discussions. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sumadi. So now let's start our validatory function. So today we have Reverend Dr. Father Lalu Olikal, Vice Principal of Yokshetra Institute of Management Studies, as our chief guest. So I welcome Father Lalu Olikal to start our validatory function.
So good evening to one and all present on this virtual platform. And I hope that I am audible and visible to you.
Yes.
Yes, Father.
Okay. So we have come to the conclusion of our 5-day international webinar on mental health. And those who have attended these sessions would really accept that these sessions were really useful in different ways. First of all, as part of curriculum, all have gained very deep knowledge on the topic. And then, as a second point, since it was completely centered on the main topic, mental health, all the sessions were really useful and insight giving to all the participants. And third, all the resource persons were well versed in the topic with their own studies, their own experiences, and also their own helping process different persons in the same line. And from the part of the participants, I think that it was an occasion to know something new, and also it was an occasion to deepen the knowledge, and also it was an occasion to gain something for your profession and your future. And for the organizers, it was so difficult to find out such erudite, scholarly persons as resource persons in order to provide detailed explanations regarding the topic. And in short, I would say these 5 days were the sessions of enriching for the participants because they have gained a lot from these sessions. And we know mental health is a matter of great importance in these days. And we have come to the relevance of this topic, especially after COVID-19, because after COVID-19, all the governments, the state, national, as well as internationally, spend a lot of money to get back the people to normal health and normal living, because COVID totally changed our situation and then totally transformed us. So it is a need of the time that we all come back to the normal life. And so what I want to tell you is the theme mental health is all the more relevant in the present scenario, and also it would be the same in the future, not as a result of COVID-19 or something pandemic, but in order to promote the people to have a better living. So I'd like to congratulate the Department of Psychology, especially the HOD, Reverend Father Dr. Jimmy Akkad, and then Reverend Sister Prima for arranging the sessions and also finding out very useful resource persons for the participants, especially the students of your Kshetra who are engaged in different subjects. And also, I would like to thank the resource persons, all the 5 resource persons, including today's resource person, for spending their valuable time for our students. And through your expositions, our students have gained a lot. So, dear resource persons, thank you on behalf of your Kshetra College, the Department of Psychology, the faculties, and all the students. And dear students, the session was, or dear participants, this session was for you, and I believe that you have gained a lot. So if you could deepen your knowledge from these sessions, the management and also especially the department and the coordinators are very happy. So grab the knowledge, enrich your studies, enrich your personality, and be useful resource persons as psychologists in the coming future. Once again, thanking the resource persons and also congratulating the department and the coordinators and the participants. I wish that there would be many more programs very useful for the students pertaining to the topics which are very relevant today. And also especially thank the HOD for inviting me for this valedictory function. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
Next, I would like to invite Miss Nidhi Rose Ando for delivering vote of thanks.
Thank you, Risha. It actually gives me a great pleasure to give away the token of gratitude on the occasion of the ending session of the 5-day national webinar on mental health in the cyber world, organized by PG Department of Psychology in association with IQAC and also with the Trichur Institute for Mental Health and Neuroscience. We all know the relevance of today's topic and even the fact which has been proved that cyber victimization can be linked to emotional harm and high levels of mental health issues. In the field of mental health also, many people with psychological distress make use of the cyber platforms to share their personal experience, search for information about mental health and treatment options. Every professionals and students can connect to this topic on a global level and reach out to the emergence and scope of cyber world. So first and foremost, I would like to give away my token of gratitude to our Honorable Director of YIMS College, Reverend Dr. Matthew George Warren, who is always there as a support and a pillar in all our academic endeavors. And I give away my thanks to Father in his absence. Thank you, Father. And also next, I would like to give away my token of gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony, who is also a keen observer and motivator for all the curriculum activities of our college. In his absence also, I would like to give away my token of gratitude to our principal, Dr. Tommy Anthony. Thank you, sir. It's with immense pleasure I would like to give away my vote of thanks, my word of gratitude to our Vice Principal of Yokshetra College, Reverend Dr. Joseph Olikel Kunal, who always have a sense of positivity and used to deliver his full strength and skill to the overall development of Yokshetra College. I thank Father for coming for the valedictory session and giving away the felicitation. Thank you, Father. Next, I would like to give my token of gratitude to the person who planned and executed this 5-day national webinar, our beloved head of the department, Reverend Father Dr. Jimmy Akat. Father always had a vision to plan ahead and work for the development and guide of the students and a motivator for all the faculties. Once again, I thank you, Father, for conducting this 5-day national webinar on the most relevant topic, mental health in cyber. I'm also remembering all the 5 eminent resource persons who took the class. First day, Advocate Karthikeyan, who's the advocate from the Madras High Court, who delivered a speech on the cyber world legal nuances, which was an eminent speech. The second day, Dr. Agil Beni, who's a forensic psychologist and HOD of Nehru Arts and Science College, Coimbatore. I thank sir also. On the third day, we had a wonderful session by Dr. Emerson VP, consultant psychologist in Chandigarh University of Punjab, on its topic, Cyber Age Impacts on the Interpersonal Relationship. Fourth day, we had the session by Dr. Ayesha Ira Nadarajan, who's a writer as well as educationist and a senior principal of the Krishnasamy Group of Institutions from Tamil Nadu. And his topic, Mental Health Professionals, Parents and Mentors, Gatekeeper Overview. And today, the last day, we had Reverend Dr. Father Alex Marotical, who's the director and also psychologist and CBT and NLP practitioner and the director of Tim Hands Trichur. And the topic was the cyber addiction, a developmental perspective. And his talk, he included all areas of cyber addiction kids are going through in this modern cyber era. Thank you, sir, for giving an awareness on the level of addiction we have right now. In this occasion, I also give away my token of gratitude wholeheartedly to the student coordinators who did their best for giving away the best to this 5-day national webinar. Ms. Pavitra Vijay, 3rd BSc Psychology, Ms. Adira, 2nd MSc Psychology, Ms. Meka, first MSc Psychology, for coordinating, along with the program coordinator, this 5-day national webinar on mental health in cyber addiction. I thank all the student coordinators for the wonderful coordination of the 5-day national webinar. And also, I'm expressing my token of gratitude to all the academicians, professionals, staff and students from other colleges, my dear colleagues and my own students for participating and listening in all the 5 days of the 5-day national webinar to the most relevant topic. So wishing everyone all the best for your future and thanking each and everyone from the bottom of my heart. Thank you once again.
I add a few words. I express my sincere gratitude to the technicians of this event, especially Sujit sir and Girish sir, Computer Center Yuvachetra, for their generous heart and timely response. Thank you, sirs.
Before we conclude, I would like to say a few words of gratitude to Reverend Dr. Alex Marotikal. We are really thankfully remembering the MOU we have signed and also the support and cooperation you extend to our college and the extension of the knowledge across the nation. So wonderful presentation. It was a wonderful presentation, really theoretically based and down to practical. Special congratulations and thanks to Dr. Alex.
Hey, Pavitra.
Yes, sister.
So, our 5 days national webinar on the topic mental health in the cyber world was a huge success. So, once again, I thank each and everyone who has supported for this webinar. So, our session is going to wind up with a national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, one and all.